Welcome everyone to today's webinar. Today we'll be discussing how to know when your business needs a server. Additionally, we'll kind of be talking about what benefits a server brings to a small business. My name is Logan and I'll be your presenter for today. I'd like to also make sure everyone is aware that I'll stick around at the end of today's presentation to have a Q&A session at the end. So please submit any questions you may have using the chat window. We'll definitely discuss those once we conclude. Our entire agenda includes a brief overview of the various benefits a server can bring to your small business. And we'll kind of follow that up with the various ways you can implement a server into your environment. And then we'll conclude on various questions that can help kind of determine whether or not you should be concerned about implementing a server into your small business or not. Now, real briefly, before we begin, I wanted to highlight the amount of time and resources and effort that my team at ITA pours into these webinars to ensure that they are relevant, informative, and contain innovative ideas that, when they're implemented, have a positive impact on your small business. This 45-minute webinar alone takes around 90 hours to complete. All we ask in return is providing this content is just a free shameless 30-second plugin highlighting what ITA can do for your small business. And ITA is a managed IT service provider, which means that we provide small to medium-sized businesses with a turnkey IT department. So for a fixed monthly price, we provide our clients with the power, technology, and IT personnel of a Fortune 500 company. If you'd like to learn more on how we can help streamline your IT while leveraging technology to help your business grow and control costs, please reach out to us. I don't believe in salespeople, which means that you're going to speak directly to myself or another one of my senior engineers, and we're going to skip the dog and pony show and keep the conversation focused purely on solving your needs. I hope to speak with each and every one of you about how ITA can revolutionize your business. And with that said, let's go ahead and jump into today's content. We'll get started by addressing a common problem with business growth, and that is expenses, which admittedly is a frustrating part of business. Anytime you think you pull ahead, you get slapped with another invoice. And speaking definitely from personal experience, and your business cannot grow without incurring more overhead, and often a large portion of that additional overhead is IT. The technology and tools that help you stay productive need to keep up with the growth of your organization. Whether you are dealing with increased use of email or a new software package for HR or accounting needs, needing to add additional file storage, or just simply spending more time servicing a growing customer base. Now, as your business continues to grow, the only constant becomes change, especially when it comes to the technology that we use to help run our businesses. And the pace of that change is constantly accelerating, whether that be the result of major innovations such as cloud computing or the impact of economic events. But here at ITA, we've always believed that technology should be viewed as an asset and not a liability. And when technology doesn't play its proper role in your business, it becomes easy to see why so many small businesses do view it as a liability. Technology should help you anticipate, manage, and respond quickly to change. And technology should also help your organization reduce costs and get the most from the investments you've already made into technology. If it doesn't do this, you're undoubtedly going to adopt a view that it is a liability. So here we've lined up a few questions to help ask yourself to determine whether technology is playing its proper role within your business. And those are: when you hire a new employee, how quickly can you get them up and running with the tools that they need? And as your files keep getting larger, how are you making sure that you're keeping up with the massive growth in data needed to do everyday business? And how are you ensuring that you are getting the maximum value from your investments in technology? And finally, how are you simplifying IT to spend less time on repetitive tasks and more time on helping address strategic business needs? Now, answering these questions without a server is an unpleasant task, simply because there is no easy solution to them. When you do have a server in the environment with Windows Server 2016 set up correctly, it truly does revolutionize the way that you do business. For instance, let's take the first question here. When you hire new employees, how quickly can you get them up and running with the tools that they need? Well, for our clients, this is an automated process, simply because they email us their new employees' name, job title, and department, and our system triggers their server to automatically create that employee's login credentials, email address, and phone extension. Additionally, the server will build their Windows profile with the necessary map network drives. It will pre-install nearby printers, along with installing any application that's required for their job. Adding new PCs is a similar situation. Our clients can go to Best Buy and pull any computer off the shelf, go back to the office, plug it in, and the server takes over. It'll wipe the computer and reinstall the correct version of Windows. It'll install any necessary applications that the business uses, and it'll make it ready for the employee simply just to log in and use it. The best part is that neither you nor I had anything to do with it. It's completely hands off. These are only two of many, many examples of how a server allows your business to instantly adapt to your growth. Now let's address managing data growth. Now, data storage is a core component of a company's IT infrastructure. To get work done, employees need to create and share all kinds of files and data. And the types and volume of that data has changed dramatically over the years. And as a result, storage has seen some amazing innovation in recent years. And part of this innovation is seen in the price of storage. Today, you can go down to Best Buy or Fry's and pick up a 2 terabyte hard drive for about $100. Price, however, hasn't always been the only challenge. A bigger issue actually arose when you tried to add additional hard drives to your server when you started to run low on space. Servers are configured with something called a RAID array, which is just a fancy word for redundancy. If one of or more of your hard drives fail, your server doesn't crash and your data isn't lost. Now, as with all technology, however, RAID arrays have pros and cons. One of the major cons is that once you set up a RAID array, its storage size is fixed for all eternity. There is no such thing as adding another hard drive if you run out of space, which usually leads to businesses overbuying because the alternative is disastrous. Now, unfortunately, since Windows Server 2012, we've replaced RAID arrays with something called storage spaces. Now, storage spaces was built on the idea of allocating storage to users on a just enough and just in time basis, and then scale it up or down as needed, offering users a fast, easy way to store whatever they need to get their work done. For example, if a project suddenly requires a large increase in storage space to store a new set of video files, this could be done easily and quickly without any downtime. This is actually a screenshot from the server management window to kind of show you how storage pools work. You see here physical disks on the bottom right. These are all the physical hard drives plugged into this particular server, which you could hot plug or unplug while the server's on as many times as you wanted, and they would show up right here in this list. And we just drag those physical disks over to the virtual disk, and it creates the server's basically C drive. And as you can see, you can make that as big or as small as you want, depending on how many drives you want to drag over there. And it's as simple as that. And for employees, this means that storage is simply there when they need it, with no loss in productivity when their demands change. Technology included in Windows Server 2016 called storage tiering also makes sure that they get their files fast by taking advantage of the latest storage technology, such as solid state drives. That enable much faster access than traditional spinning hard drives. For you, this means that running low on disk space is fixed with $100 and a trip to Fry's Electronics. Now, getting more from your technology investments is something a server can do in a lot of different ways. But one particular feature called Remote App really helps demonstrate this point. So I'm going to use Remote App as an example of how exactly a server helps create additional value from an investment you've already made into a piece of technology. With an increasingly mobile and remote workforce, one challenge for many small businesses is providing remote access to applications that live locally on the server in the office. Now, there's a lot of different types of applications that may run locally on your server. Some examples are customer relation management software, HR applications, and my personal favorite example is QuickBooks. Now, let's say employees working from home or on their laptop at a hotel room need access to QuickBooks to create invoices. Remote App is a feature built directly into Windows Server 2016 that allows secure access to programs traditionally available only while you're at the office, and QuickBooks being one of those, to be available from any computer in the world. And this is what I mean when I say a server can create additional value from technology you've already invested into, which is in this scenario, QuickBooks, and add value to it, which is allowing you to access QuickBooks from anywhere in the world, regardless if QuickBooks is installed in that computer or not, or if you own that device or not. It's all irrelevant. Now, finally, let's address how you may simplify IT to spend less time on repetitive tasks and more time on addressing strategic business needs by using a server. Now, we've already touched on a couple of ways a server reduces the cost and complexity of IT by automating previously lengthy and complicated processes, such as onboarding a new employee or adding a new computer to your environment. However, a server can do much more than just automate a few IT processes. It can help ease, simplify, and oftentimes automate business processes you perform every day. Providing an example that would relate to all of you is kind of difficult because each and every one of you attending this webinar run your business differently. And when we consult with our clients, this is where our area of business expertise really shines, because we sit down and we learn each of your processes inside and out, to basically look for candidates that would be good processes that would benefit from intervention from your server. And with that said, a few popular processes that we've kind of been involved with in the past include pre-processing of email, especially around any type of ordering or manufacturing. Pre-processing the email allows us to basically evaluate an email as it's coming in and reroute that based upon the contents, right, to the right manager or to the purchasing department or the accounting department based on a whole bunch of things. And instead of paying a receptionist or a dispatcher to read these flood of order emails, we can basically use the power of your server to evaluate and decide on its own where that email should go, and you're completely cutting out the human labor aspect of that business process. Another client was a testing laboratory for environmental hazards, and the software that they had to use was absolutely horrendous. And it took a lab technician nearly an hour to extract the test results from the software and retype them into a nicely formatted Excel spreadsheet that was easy for their client to read. And we were able to completely eliminate this process with Windows Server 2016. Now, of course, I can go on for a very long time with example after example that we've done for each different type of client. However, really the best way to see exactly how a server would reduce costs and IT complexity and your specific environment would definitely be to schedule an appointment with our team to come out and have a hands-on look at your business and your processes, so we can really kind of address in a very personalized way how we could take the power from a server and really hone it to refine some of the business processes that are repetitive and are unnecessary when you can implement a server to do them for you. Now that we've covered the various benefits a server offers your business, it's important to know all of your options when it comes to actually introducing a server to your IT environment. The most traditional method, being on-premise, is simply buying a server from a name brand such as Dell or HP and slapping it into your IT closet. And then next you have the cloud. Oh, the cloud. I tell you what, the IT industry has certainly had fun with this buzzword. For those who may not already know, the cloud is simply paying someone else to use their server, plain and simple. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of this particular method. There are a lot of complications that go along with sticking your server in the cloud. Now, Microsoft has made significant progress in removing a lot of these obstacles, as seen with their latest product called Microsoft Business 365. If you don't know anything about M365, I do encourage you to go on the Microsoft website and check it out. And yes, that is M as in Mary 365, not O365. That's something different. We all know O365. It is brand new as of like November 11th. That kind of really gives an alternative approach to just renting a server in the cloud and putting all of your server related stuff in Azure. It is really nice feature. Still has some drawbacks, but it definitely is making a lot of progress in this area. However, even then, a cloud-based server is not a solution for everyone. And it's definitely one that needs to be carefully analyzed with an IT professional to ensure that it really truly fits your business model. Now, the last of options is a hybrid model, which most of us do this today without even realizing it. For instance, a hybrid model is where you have one of your line of business applications, which are applications specific to your industry, hosted by the company that made that software. ITA, for example, has a program that helps us manage our service tickets called ConnectWise. And we pay ConnectWise to host that software for us so we don't have to mess with it on our own servers. Now, we still have servers in our office to do a plethora of things, but we just pay ConnectWise to handle that portion for us. And this would be an example of a hybrid scenario. Now, let's circle back to the on-premise option, which I really kind of skipped over on purpose to present these alternatives first before telling you why I really prefer on-premise for small to medium-sized businesses. And I recommend and prefer this method for several reasons. The first of which is the cost of a server isn't what it used to be. It no longer takes thousands of dollars to purchase just the server and then thousands more to purchase the licensing that goes on the server. Thanks to the dramatic decline in hardware costs and our relationships with various distributors, the last 2 servers that I've purchased for clients were less than $1,000, and that was with hardware that exceeded the requirements by at least 10% for growth purposes, which makes it just silly for most companies to use a cloud-based server and have to pay to overcome the multiple obstacles that come along with that route when purchasing an on-premise server is definitely hard to not be more cost effective, really. Now, again, every technology has pros and cons. And even though I may prefer the on-premise server, it still has drawbacks. And placing all of your stuff in one place, as you can imagine, would spell disaster should something happen. Therefore, I want to make sure we take just a couple of minutes and discuss how to protect your data and keep your business up and running even when the unexpected occurs. Now, according to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, 40% of businesses hit by a disaster never reopen for business. And out of the 60% that do reopen, 25% of them will close their doors within the next 2 years. Now let's apply that statistic to a disaster such as Hurricane Harvey in Houston. And you have a local community that lost nearly half of its small businesses overnight. They just won't reopen their doors. And from today to the next 2 years, Houston will go on to lose another 25% of small businesses that do eventually reopen their doors. And at the end of that 2 years, you're going to have that local community have only a third of the small businesses that it had before Hurricane Harvey. Now, I also want you to make sure that you consider that natural disasters are not the only concern. Systems can go down for many reasons, whether that be a break-in, a fire, or a power outage. And recovering from a disaster requires more than just a simple data backup. It's about getting your applications and systems back to where they were before the disaster. And this can often take days, if not weeks, with just a simple backup system. And without frequent backup, you can lose many days worth of data. And disaster recovery solutions are designed to minimize the downtime and ensure business continuity when these events occur. With disaster recovery solutions, you dramatically reduce the amount of lost data, and you can be back online in hours or even minutes. Now, sadly, you don't typically see traditional disaster recovery solutions implemented in small to medium-sized businesses because it's not uncommon for them to cost what you would typically budget for IT in an entire year, which leaves these businesses stranded. Now, the good news is that if you're already a client or want to be a client of ITA, you're good to go. We include a world-class disaster recovery and business continuity solution for every client as part of our service. You can kind of just sit back and ignore the next couple of slides. With terms like disaster recovery and business continuity floating around, it can kind of help take a step back and get a better idea of what each of these really mean and how each benefits your business. One easy way to think about the difference is that backup is concerned about not losing a file that you created and used while you were doing your job. And I'm talking to those of you that somehow permanently delete whatever Excel spreadsheet you were working on before lunch, and you call me frantic as if you just lost your child at a mall. Now, disaster recovery, on the other hand, is about making sure you don't lose your file, but also that you don't lose your file from a fire. And now that the highest tier of protection is business continuity, which ensures that you don't lose your file and you don't lose it because of a fire, but both of these things don't happen, and you don't lose productivity or customers because it took you a week for you to bring a new server online and get your employees back to work. Now, ideally, you would want all three solutions: data backup, disaster recovery, and business continuity, because they all complement each other and serve a different purpose. Now, my goal with bringing up this topic is simply to make sure you understand that you need to acknowledge and accept any risks inherent to the backup strategy you choose before implementing a server. Now, I beat this dead horse because of a discovery we made a while back while we were analyzing marketing data. And the single largest source of our new clients for ITA are clients who had a previous IT company or person, and they told them their data was backed up. However, despite that, they lost invaluable data that made a big impact to their business, and they came seeking us for help and resolution of that problem. That is our single source of leads, which is crazy. That's just absolutely alarming. So we do everything in our power to make sure that you're educated on the inherent dangers of not absolutely making sure that your server and all the stuff on it is backed up in such a manner that if you were to lose everything, if you were to take that server and throw it off the roof of your building, that you would not be impacted in any way, shape, or form. Okay, time for the $1,000,000 question. Is it time for your business to purchase a server? Now, Microsoft casted a vision a while back about turning small businesses into a modern business. They've kind of coined modern biz. It's an ideology that ITA really embraces because we've seen firsthand how technology really explodes a small business's growth. Ideally, each and every one of you should really be aiming for this goal of becoming a modern business, because modern businesses are able to understand their clients. They increase sales and adapt to changes in their customer demands because of this understanding. And because they are proactive about getting the most out of their technology, they can do these things from anywhere in the world. And additionally, modern businesses protect and control their data by actively preparing for the unexpected. And Windows Server 2016 is a core component of the Microsoft Modern Business Vision, providing a server platform that helps small and mid-sized organizations address a range of business needs, whether getting more value from your server hardware or enabling remote access to on-site applications or helping being prepared for the unexpected. I'll leave you today with these questions to kind of consider. What does the future of your business look like? Can your current technology take care of the needs your business will have when that vision becomes a reality? Also, if your business was hacked during this webinar and you returned back to work only to discover that all your data was encrypted by the CryptoLocker virus, how much sleep would you lose? Has the inability to work outside of your own office limited your ability to be productive and grow your business? Are you putting your business at risk by emailing order forms that may have credit card numbers on them back and forth because your business lacked the technology to implement the right process, so instead it uses a workaround process? If the answers to any of these questions make you uncomfortable, it's a very clear sign it may be time to consider implementing a server into your business. And anyone here at ITA, including myself, would be more than happy to discuss how you may start that process. Now, I do truly hope that this webinar was very thought-provoking. It brought some things to the forefront of your mind, and really you go back to your office with a new perspective on what you may need or may not need to do with the technology in your environment. I do definitely want to thank all of you for attending, and I do sincerely hope this webinar was helpful and informative. We do pour a significant amount of time, energy, and resources into preparing these presentations for you. We would more than welcome any feedback on how we may improve upon these presentations. Please make sure to also thank your local Chamber of Commerce for helping us make this educational platform possible. And I do hope to see all of you next month at our next presentation.